Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Friday evening, which means it's time to talk about coping with life. And I just wanted to let you know that this weekend, we're talking about two things. We're talking about creating habits that work better for us, and also about multitasking, because the chances are, like me, you've only got 24 hours in the day, but you need a few more hours here and there to get things done. And so what we're talking about today is how to multitask things to give you a little bit of extra time. And so for those of you who are new to the broadcast, welcome. Dear Mama Sal is not just me. It's a group of people who get together, and we get together 3 times a week. The times I'm going to give you are Pacific time, so noon Pacific time. We get together to talk about coping with feelings at 7 o'clock Pacific time, which is now, we talk about coping with life. And then on Sunday afternoons at 3:30 Pacific, we talk about coping with stress. But all of it is about coping with life. And I just wanted to say that we are very pleased to report, for those of you who are regulars, Jeannie had her operation today, and she's fine. She's home already. She's pretty tired, and she was saying, which I thought was really great news, that they've got enough of their house finished that York was able to go and have electricity and mow the lawn. So there's Jane right now. So great to see you, and Isa too, and Jody. For those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin. And for also good news for Jody as well. She heard this week that her insurance will pay for her operation, and so she doesn't have any cost involved now with having that gastric bypass surgery. So great news all around, and I'm delighted to hear it. The chances are that you are all quite normal and that you understand that life just doesn't go the way that we want it to sometimes. Have any of you found that? Has life got in your way at all this week? Did you have a really good plan for what you wanted to do and then found that life just said, no, you need to do something else? And that certainly was my week. And I wanted to just let you know that the good news, I was talking about it at lunchtime, the good news is that the restoration people came and they checked things out. And not only did they agree to most of what I was unhappy about, because I did it in a sort of fair and friendly way, but also they added in some stuff that I wasn't expecting. So there's that wonderful moment where they thanked me for my patience and the way I'd handled all of this. And, they went out of their way to give me more than I expected in some areas. So that is absolutely delightful. And life, whilst it's difficult in some places, sometimes it brings you more than you expect. And that is wonderful. Just in terms of, let me just get the birthdays going here so I don't forget. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Hold on 1 second. I had it in front of me earlier, so we know it's here. All right, so first of all, yesterday, in fact, the 9th, two things happened. Number one, it was Anna Marie's birthday, but I think absolutely amazingly, it is also 6 years since Jody found out that she was cancer-free. And that's a huge milestone for her. So well done, Jody. We're so happy for you. For those of you who know Chloe in the UK, it's her birthday today. And of course, it is Father's Day weekend in North America. I don't know if it is also in the UK or not. And I'm certain you guys will let me know that. Hi, Sharon. Good to see you. Right. If anybody who's come in now that wasn't at lunchtime, that has any updates you want to share with the viewers generally, or for us to put it under thoughts and prayers later, and updates, please just let us know so we can take notes and do something after the broadcast. I'm talking about multitasking because it really is a time of our life where we need to look at how do I make the hours work better for me. It's not about stressing out more. It's about using the time that you have to a slightly better advantage. So let me ask you, the chances are you guys probably already multitask in a number of ways. And so I saw a quote here and it said that multitasking turns you into Superwoman. How many of you remember that program out of the UK, Mrs. Bouquet? What was it called? Keeping Up Appearances. And I always thought, she was really OCD, but, she was always doing something while she was doing something else. It was just like she was always cleaning whatever. And those are the sort of things that I want us to think about. How many of you make a point of going, maybe saying to yourself, I really need to clean the windows today, so let me phone somebody. And, so that the phone call will distract you from cleaning windows. Do any of you do that? I spent a wonderful half an hour this week talking to Benji. And, he got on the phone and he said, just, because he normally walks while he talks to me. So he said, I'm just going out for a walk. And I said, okay, hang on a second, honey. And I got my poles and I got my stuff. And he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to walk with you, of course. And we walked for half an hour. And, I didn't notice that I had done, 2 laps of the community here. It's 0.6 of a mile each time. So, it was a nice walk. But the reason I did it twice was because I was in the middle of chatting and I didn't really notice I was walking. And so I want you to think about that. I want you to think about, how do I distract myself from what I maybe don't like to do? Now, heads up here. I'm not suggesting for a moment that you should be driving and putting on your makeup. I'm not suggesting for a moment that you don't concentrate on the things that need a lot of focus. What I'm talking about is there are so many things you could do whilst you are doing something. For example, how many of you do something else when you're on the phone? Let's just see how many of you do that. And what do you do? As you know, I'm now inclined to walk while I talk on the phone. And that is a pretty useful use of my time. I actually do a lot of cleaning of windows and things when I'm on the phone, because I don't particularly like cleaning windows, but I've noticed that while you're on the phone, it doesn't take very long, and it works. And sometimes somebody will say to me, what are you up to? I said, I'm trying to clean windows. And they say, what a good idea. I know some viewers, for example, choose to take the DearMamaSal broadcast and do things during it. And I love that. Nada is one of them, where they actually go, okay, I'm going to listen to her, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to tidy up the kitchen while I'm listening. Now, to me, that is really smart use of your time. Yeah, Jeannie's saying you can call me a dizzy dame because one of the meds causes dizziness. So York is guiding her around a bit. Yes, be careful of that, all right? All right, so it's interesting. Isabel's saying that she does the dishes sometimes while she's listening, but it bothers her. All right, Beth is saying, I'm listening to you and doing next week's schedule. I get stressed doing it, so I need that soothing voice to distract me. Thank you, Beth. Beth, I cannot tell you how many times in my day I do something and I go, oh, Beth would really like me on this. I will do something. And it's so funny. And I go, oh, Beth would really like this one. She'd like to see me doing this. And I want to thank you for coming into my life, Beth, because you not only have been an inspiration to me in terms of, I was talking at lunchtime, Beth, about the fact that I wanted to have, like a 4-star hotel bathroom. with my, bare budget. And, how every single day I'm doing the next step to creating that, and how much joy it is bringing me, and how I don't leave my bedroom until I look at it and go, does this look like a hotel bedroom? Does it look that tidy and clean? And if the answer is yes, I smile. And it makes me feel good. And I never realized all my life I used to dread having people come visit me. And I think that's why I hated that people came visited me without warning, is that my house wasn't ready for them. And now I don't really care. Why? I have learned through, it's amazing, isn't it? I think it was through having 6 months of doing open houses to try and sell my house, where I had to keep it tidy, and then the fire, and then living in other people's places, and then coming home and saying, I'm going to start my life again. And so the question is, if we can learn new habits, we're never too old. I found out today, by the way, the final thing on the marathon, the 5 kilometers, I ended up number 512, I think, or 505 of 520 something. So the good news was I definitely completed it, and I am really happy that I didn't come last. I might have been in the last 10%, but I wasn't last. And funny enough, they sent me a survey today. And one of the things they said in the survey was, what recommendations do you have? And I said, tell more people they can do it virtually and they can walk. Because I am certain, I can't tell you how many people said to me, you can walk that thing, you don't have to run. I'm saying, yeah, why not? Yes, Jeannie's saying, for those who need an update, her new home has both the front and back steps now, so she can get in and out of it. Well, Beth is saying last place is someone who didn't even try. I disagree with you, Beth. How do you know that, like me, they were maybe only doing 2,000 steps a day 6 months ago, and then entered into a 5K? So being last would be a huge win. And it wouldn't be about the fact that they didn't try. They spent 6 months training up to do that. So think about that. I tried my heart out, that, and I still ended up 500 and something, but most people were running. And so to me, this is about, be careful not to judge that, right? Because you don't know somebody else's story. And quite honestly, I think 3 of the people that were below me are below me because they didn't understand how to put their time in. You know what I mean? It looked like they had put their minutes into the hour section. So, yes, and Janie's saying, I'd be proud just to finish. And I am, as you know, very proud that I finished. Now, how many of you think that multitasking is a bad thing? And I, just while you're typing on that one, I want to tell you about the phone. The phone to me, if you still do it, the phone to me used to be a really good time to do things, but I find that I text a lot more now and I send emails more. So I'm not on the phone as much. And that has affected my day because I'm not doing those mindless tasks while I'm on the phone. And I would also think about that and say, how many of you missed the telephone call? We used to be available whenever anybody called. We'd be busy, but somebody would call and we'd make the time to talk to them. But we'd get on with whatever we could while we were talking with them. And in a way, part of me realizes that I miss that at some level. And, I saw it said here that somebody said that multitasking wastes time, doesn't make it. So be careful what you multitask is what I'm saying. If it's something that, don't go filling in your tax form whilst you are busy doing something else, right? Be selective about what you do rather than, it's like if it needs your concentration, you will be doing it much more quickly if you give it. If I don't know about you guys, but if I need to fill in a form like that, I shut everything down. I turn off the televisions, and any distraction goes off, and I sit at my dining room table, without my computer. I sit at my dining room table, and I sit there and work on it until it's done. Just so that I don't have the distraction. I was saying today at lunchtime that one of the things that horrified me is how much of my day I was wasting sitting at my computer, getting distracted by another, happy dogs thing, or something, a pop-up thing that said, this is what Meghan and Harry are up to. And, what I realized was they do a really good job of distracting you. Really good job of distracting you. And I realized I was probably wasting a couple of hours a day just watching stuff that I had really, it's nice to find out what they're up to, but really, could I do without it? Yes, I could do without it. And for any of you, as I said at lunchtime, for any of you who are mothers, you know all about multitasking. You know how to cook and hold a baby at the same time. It's like, that it becomes essential. So if you're looking to add a few more hours, I wanted us to talk about some of the things maybe that you do. Beth, I'm pretty certain you multitask all over the place. And I'm certain a lot of you do as well. So any hints that you have, any ideas that you have about, well, what I do is I always do this while I'm doing that. Let's talk about them. One of the things that I try to do is to find what I call matching time things. Let me give you an example of that. I found that it takes about 2 minutes to make my cup of coffee in the morning. But it also takes me 2 minutes to empty the dishwasher below it. So instead of standing and watching the coffee brew, and some of you will know what I'm talking about, so, because I'm not awake yet, I go, okay, if the coffee's brewing, it's time to empty the dishwasher. And all that I do is I put the dishwasher stuff, because I don't use the heat cycle, I put it on here to dry. And, to me, it's just like, that works really well for me, because by the time I finish loading the dishwasher, the coffee's done. And the other thing that I wanted to tell you is I have found out that most things I can take out of the dishwasher and just put them, even though my dishwasher, I don't use the heating cycle on it, I can put most things into the drawer to dry. Just literally there's a little bit of water on it, but not much. And so that has helped me a great deal. So Beth is saying, I have literally yelled at my coffee maker. So I usually pull my cup early from the brewer. Yeah, it's like, to me, it is, how much time, Beth, time is your it is your motivation, all right? I've noticed that you are very task-oriented and you hate to waste time. All right, Jeannie's saying, I always multitask whilst using the dishwasher. Give me an example, Jeannie, if you will. Beth sees everything as a competition. I won against the coffee maker. Yes, the coffee maker thought it was going to slow me down, but there is no way I was going to let it. Right, Beth? Now, I've got it down to quite a fine art, I must admit, and I'm improving on it every day. I think one of the big aha moments for me, as you know, was to find out I could actually exercise inside by using the Wii. But since then, I found out I can exercise and watch television at the same time. Now, that's a whole new bag of excitement for me, because this is like, if I'm short on steps for the day, I go, okay, I can still watch my, whatever I'm binge watching, but, for the next half hour, I'm just going to walk instead of sit on the couch. And I was delighted to tell everybody at lunchtime That's the strange thing is, since doing the 5K, my steps have stayed at a half marathon a week. I have not dropped the number of steps. Isn't that interesting? And it's not because I'm out walking huge distances. I just seem to have more energy. Beth is saying, if I do multi things, my mood is better. The less I do, the more I risk falling into old behaviors like not eating. And Jeannie's saying that whilst her dishwasher is going, she does things like write out checks to pay bills. All right, so me, I sleep while my dishwasher is on, I must admit. It's the last thing I put on at night is to my dishwasher, and then I go to bed. And so you could say that I multitask my dishwasher as well, but I'm doing other things. I found it really fascinating today to see. Oh, interesting. Jody's saying, Sal, I was impressed with your step count, especially the 11K the other day. I think I did 2 lots of 11K. I could be wrong. Let me just check before I lie on that one. And thank you for showing that interest. It is pretty surprising, I know. No, wrong thing. I don't want that. There we go. That's what I want. This week I did 2 lots of over 11,000. I did 11.7 on Tuesday and 11.3 on yesterday. Hi, Karen. Happy whose Independence Day? Not mine. Not America's. So where are you that it's Independence Day? Beth is saying, my steps have reduced. I can now delegate better at work. Well done, Beth. I don't need to do everything myself. And bonus point, I've learned to trust others. Well, yes, the other thing I'd like to suggest, Beth, is you've trained them to your standard. Now, am I correct in that? And that's why you trust them, because you know that they're going to do it to your standard for the most part. I'm still waiting to find out where Karen is from, that it's Independence Day. Is that the Karen that we know as Rinsky? Yes, and Beth is saying that's true, all right, that she has trained them to her standard, and they still love me. I guess I'm doing it right. You know, Beth, I can always remember one of my staff members saying to me, funny enough, she said it at her wedding, and she introduced me to somebody and said, this is the greatest boss I ever had, because boy, did she expect the best from me and made sure I gave it. But she said she also was the most frustrating boss I ever had, because she was always one step ahead of what I was thinking. And I said, true. And the reason I could, we were so alike. So, but you know, I want to tell you, Beth, training people to do a good job and giving them the kudos when they do it. You know, there's nothing that's called good management. I always believe that management is not a title. You know, leadership is a skill. Leadership is bringing out the best in people. It is not how good you are, it's how well can you train somebody else to be good. That is my view of leadership. So you've become a leader, not a manager. All right, interesting. Jeannie's saying she had quite a ritual when she went to the hospital today. When I got to hospital before the surgery, I had to scrub all over with a special sponge, had to brush my teeth again, use mouthwash again, and finally the nurse swabbed my nose with an orange-scented Q-tip. And this is for... that probably, yeah, that was to make sure that you weren't bringing any germs in via your nose, I would think. Because of COVID, yeah, exactly. So, but the good news is that you're through the operation, and that's the most important thing. And the fact you're going into a sterile environment, at the moment, they must be super careful. So let's have another look at this. I believe, all right, that when we can see the value of doing more than one thing at the same time, then we can actually make more time for ourselves. As I was explaining, Beth, this is one of the things. I don't leave my shower until I think Beth would be happy with it. Now, that takes a lot of work. But it actually doesn't take me a lot of time now, because I've got the system down to a fine art, and I do most of it while the shower is running. And it's just like a relaxation for me. Most of my shower time is spent cleaning the shower rather than, after I've cleaned my hair and me. It's just like, okay, now while I'm relaxing, I'll just clean the shower. And then, when I get out of it, it's clean. It's wonderful. I don't have to make a day in the week to clean the shower properly, because it looks clean every day. I would also like to say, concentration on the job keeps quality in the work. True. So remember, don't multitask the things that need what I call, where the effect could be dangerous to you. So multitask the things that you can without it being a big deal. For example, I problem solve in the shower. Do any of you? While I'm standing there washing my hair and whatever, I sort of think, okay, what is it that I've got an issue with at the moment? And I go, oh yeah, I've got that problem, and I carry on, whatever, and I wait to see what comes to me. And I'm amazed how many of my problems get solved just thinking about them in the shower. Do any of you find that? Do you do that? And if you don't, I really recommend it, because it's amazing what your mind. I always think, I like to think that I got a librarian running around inside my mind. And I somehow or other, I think whenever I have a shower, it's like I'm cleaning up his act as well as mine. So Heidi Klum said, I'm good at multitasking, but I have to do things immediately. And I would like to say that a lot of things I am taking off my list. My list was way too unmanageable. And it's not that I want to forget about them. It's just I don't have to do them this week. Beth is saying, I just hurry in the shower because I have curves now. I'm still getting used to my body. Yeah, and this is the whole thing, it's like, do any of you multitask when you clean your teeth? Because what I found out is cleaning your teeth, is a one-handed action. And so now what I've started doing, and in order to do it for longer, because I used to rush that, in order to do it longer, I now multitask a bit. And I actually clean off my vanity while I'm cleaning my teeth with my left hand. It's very good exercise for my left hand. Right. And Jodie's saying, that's how I am when doing the laundry or folding clothes. I just let my mind wander. Yes. And so how many of you, I must admit that I have learned to take things into the washroom with me when I go in there, and I fold clothes while I'm sitting down, so to speak. If I got small things, I put socks together and fold things, It's wonderful. All right, so Jeannie's saying India, Afghanistan, Indonesia all celebrate Independence Day today. Jeannie, are they all today? I mean, most countries have Independence Day, but I wonder who is celebrating it today. Wow, that's amazing. That India, Afghanistan, and Indonesia are all celebrating, well, happy Independence Day to all of you. So, how many of you actually, hi there, Lauren. And congratulations, by the way, Lauren, you did your exam and you got through it, you think? And here is an example of incredible discipline. The one thing I'd have to say about Lauren this year is she has grown into an adult, and I have watched it happen. When I say I've watched it happen, I really see her doing so many adult behaviors this year. And for example, she knew she needed to study for this exam, and she did things like, not chat to us, or, she made room for what she wanted to do with her life. And, I thought that was so adult and so smart. And if you want to take the stress of taking an exam, that is the way to do it. And Lauren's saying it had to happen eventually, Hazel. Did you have to grow up? Yeah. But, it's the way that you did it. Oh, Jeannie saying she made a mistake. It's not their Independence Day today. It's all in August. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I thought I'd ask the question. But somebody has Independence Day today, and I'm sure we'll find out. So let me ask you about that. In terms of studying, how many of you, when you study, need to have music to study? And, you've got two sorts of people. Some people have to have music, and some people need quiet. And know what works for you. And if you can't study properly with music going on, then make sure you're in a quiet place. Have any of you, for example, needed some peace and quiet, and your house is full of noise and activity, and just gone to sit in the car so you can concentrate? It's like, that is smart. That is taking away the multifunction and going, I need all of my brain, all 2 brain cells to study, all right? I can't have them distracted. Yes, and Janie's saying she normally likes quiet study time. Lauren says, I can have classical music, but no music with lyrics, because I start writing the lyrics of the song. Yes. Your mind starts to, part of your mind is working on that. I find that I sleep better if I have the television on. I sleep better. Go figure that one. I still can't work that one out. Oh, Jody's saying, I don't see any Independence Day celebrations today. The Philippines is tomorrow. That's what I wondered. Jody, but again, what time is it in the Philippines right now? I think it is tomorrow with them, isn't it? They're all the way around and nearly. I think it's already tomorrow in the Philippines. So that could be why it's Happy Independence Day. Thank you for that research, honey. Do any of you get upset when somebody is multitasking whilst they're talking to you? Let's get that one out. Hi there, Erit. Good to see you, and good morning. And you're up at 5:30 in Israel? Yeah. And what time is that? I have no idea what time. Actually, I lie, Erit. I did wake up. I did wake up a couple of mornings ago and saw the sun come up, and I thought it must be about 5, and it was, Yes, Lauren, that's a good point. Lauren's saying it depends how good the other person is at multitasking. I have no problem with somebody multitasking whilst they're talking to me on the phone. I find it distracting when we're on a video call. What about you guys? And I will say things like, what are you up to? What? Well, I can see that your concentration is somewhere else. So what are you up to? And I quite often on the phone will, just by the way people are talking to me, realize that they're multitasking and go, what are you doing as well as talking to me? I don't mind. I just I'm curious. I like to know what they're up to. Now, for example, how many of you use the time to learn something? I found, for example, I hate cleaning my car. I really do not like cleaning my car. And so what I do is I will put a podcast or a book on while I clean the car, because I find if my mind is occupied in learning, then I don't notice so much what I'm doing in cleaning the car. Do any of you find that? Yeah, Irit is saying I used to check tests while listening to classical music. Right. And so this is the whole thing, is know what works for you and work out what you can multitask easily. And think about, what can I do whilst I'm also doing this? For example, I found out that I can clean up the whole of my kitchen while I'm cooking. Because when you're cooking, it takes a little while for that thing to do its next bit. So while that's doing, let me clean up over there. And then, it takes a little while for this to happen. So let me just clean the top of the oven while I'm doing that. Does that make sense? All right, now what is a mushav? Mushav. I know what a kibbutz is, but what's a mushav? All right, and Irit's saying that she talks to her friends while she's cleaning. Yes, and it makes cleaning so much easier, doesn't it? It's amazing how much you can get done just in one telephone call if you distract your mind away from, I got to clean. Think about it. I was saying at lunchtime, I've got one of those long-handled Swiffers. I can walk around and clean all the baseboards and clean, get the dust bunnies off without any problem during a telephone call, without anybody even knowing what I'm doing. Now, Stephen Covey said something interesting, and he said, the key is not to prioritize what is on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. I was talking today about changing your habits, and your habits are what control your life. Now, you might have noticed I've got a bowl here, which I don't normally have, because what I wanted to do is to make sure that I eat more fruit and vegetables. So now every morning I put out fruit and vegetables, and this was had much more in it at lunchtime. It had a nectarine and an apple and something else. All right. And so I'm down to an avocado and a pear. And because if I keep saying it, it's much easier to just say, oh, I'm hungry, what shall I have? Or let me have a pear. Or let me have an avocado with some mayo on it. And so what I'm learning to do is to get the habit of keeping food where I can see it. Good food, not the bad stuff, good food. Jody's saying, Sal, when I clean, I'm playing the broadcast at noon where you talk about your cleaning routine to inspire me. Well, I want to tell you, it works really well. Those two cubies, one with all the cleaning supplies in it and one the moving stuff from room to room cubie, it works for me really well. All right, so now we're getting a definition from Irit. It's a communal where the family lives together in a home, or the agricultural things are communal. Right, so it's not a kibbutz. That's interesting. So it's sort of like, I want to say it's sort of like, how many people are in the house? Interesting the things we learn, right? By asking. So one of the things that I like to do is to learn while I am doing stuff that I don't particularly like. And so that requires that I not only have, for example, the cleaning stuff that I need, I also take a notepad with me, right? Because every now and then I'll be listening to an audiobook or something and it's teaching me something. I think, ooh, that's good. Let me write that down. And I don't know about the rest of you, but if I can get one good idea out of a whole audiobook, I reckon it was worth my time. What about you guys? All right, so Irit is now updating more information. All right, a moshav is where each one has a piece of land and works it. Huh. Right, it's a new word for me as well. I've never heard of it. So thank you, Irit. I appreciate it. So I am busy sort of linking the pleasure of learning when I walk. All right. I literally go, oh, it's time to walk. That's good. Let me get my earbuds in because I'm going to learn at the same time. And so I think that's really exciting to be able to do that. And so to me, it's like, it's really, I love to learn. I don't know about the rest of you. I love learning things. And so every day, if I can say, oh, I didn't know that, that's interesting to learn. Like, there's a difference between a kibbutz, which is communal work, and a moshav, where, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, where they are individual farmers working their individual land. Interesting. All right, so do any of you multitask while you eat? Do any of you read while you eat, for example? Do any of you write a journal while you eat? And I'd like to say that, again, I find that I eat differently if I am doing something else. I don't gobble my food down the same way. And I seem to be needing less food if I'm not sort of just concentrating on food. All right, so Ivrit is saying, when she was in class, she used to put all kinds of videos on with pupils while pupils were eating. All right, so you would actually help them learn while they were eating. All right, Jody says, I review my to-do lists while I eat. Interesting. All right, and Jeannie's saying no other task but eating for me. We always say a prayer first, right? That wasn't the issue. What I'm trying to find out is, I think perhaps it might be different for those of you who are married or in relationships, or those of you who maybe live alone. So think about that. Think about how could you use your time better. I would like to say, for those of you, it's interesting. Jeannie said she would eat too fast otherwise. If funny enough, it slows me down. Isn't that funny, Jeannie? It has the opposite effect on me. If I am busy working on something while I eat more slowly and I eat less. Interesting, isn't it? And how about when you're waiting? Be it that you're at the doctor's office or you're waiting in line at the bank or whatever. Do any of you multitask to lower your stress levels? I make a point of taking something with me whenever I go for a medical appointment, because I know as well as you do, it's going to run late. And I'm a time freak, so I get stressed. So I make sure I take something with me that will distract me from the time. And quite often they have to sort of say my name 3 times before I realize, it's time for me now, because I'm so deep into the other thing. That's how far away I am from being stressed out because they're late. So I try to take something that is of real interest to me. I think I've told you guys that I wrote a complete book while sitting in airports waiting for airplanes. In the times when I was a professional speaker, I literally spent an awful lot of time every week sitting around in airports. And I decided to use that time to my advantage. I wrote a complete book, just sitting just sitting at the airport. And what I had was like a 5x7 little binder that I just kept adding pages to. And when I got to the next place, I'd take some of those pages out and put it into the main one, and I'd add more blank pages, and then I'd just keep writing, and it was incredible. Yes, Jody's saying, I find it is de-stressing to multitask. I feel more productive. And that's exactly the point. You will become Superwoman if you get into the habit of doing it. Irit says that I try to read a book. If it's winter, I knit. And in winter, I watch TV and knit. Yes. All right. And then Jeannie's saying that is great because you don't waste time just waiting. For me, I don't waste time, and I also don't waste my stress. Otherwise I get stressed out. What do you mean you've had me sitting here for 20 minutes already? I get angry about that. And then sometimes, it's going to be an hour. And if I've got something with me that is something that gives me achievement, I don't get stressed. Why? I've used the time to my advantage. Deepak Chopra said, multitasking divides your attention and leads to confusion. But again, remember, that is if you are doing something really important. And what we're talking about is the multitasking to your advantage. And if you can do that, you will feel more productive, and you will feel that you have spent your time wisely. Again, in the kitchen, I find that when I'm meal prepping, I also clean the kitchen. Wow. And Jeannie's saying when she went for her operation today, the doctor was early and her surgery was early. That's the first. Right. Amazing. And so you look at it and you go, think about this, all right? For those of you who have inquiring minds, and I know quite a few of you do, I do a lot of research. If I'm trying to get some topic together for the broadcast, I do a lot of research while I'm cooking as well. I have my tablet here and I'll be doing something and food prepping, and I'll go, yeah, but I wonder what the story is. I wonder how many pairs of sneakers get thrown away or pairs of shoes get thrown away every year. And I'll do that sort of research while I am meal prepping or cooking. Does that make sense? So think about that. I know I've got to make a telephone call about my internet being glitchy. You know why I haven't made it? I know I'm going to be on the phone for a long time, wasting time. And so really what I need to do and what I've decided to do is I'm going to take one day and say, this is my talk to the internet people day, and I'm going to give myself, all morning to do it. But what I will do is maybe edit a video whilst I'm waiting. That would be good use of my waiting time, in my view. But I'd have to write off a whole morning because that's how long, it takes me to get a video edited these days. So think about how many things you could do while you're cleaning your teeth. Did any of you give some thought to that? Yes, you could tidy up your, your vanity, but how many of you going, well, if you change the toothbrush to your other hand, what else could you clean? And if you think about it, we're meant to clean our teeth for 2 minutes. And it's amazing how much you can get done in 2 minutes. You can do a window in 2 minutes. I know that. And you can clean the bathroom mirror in 2 minutes. And so that is it. By the way, Jeannie, I wanted to say, did you, you probably know this already, but that Maine is now not allowing Walmart to have bags anymore. Is that right? And I believe this is the first state to actually go completely bagless. You've got to take your own bags to Walmart to do shopping, but it's only in Maine at the moment, I believe. You probably know more about it than I do, Jeannie, but I found it interesting. And I know you're in Maine, so perhaps you can tell us. Kimmy's saying, very true. I was on the phone with my phone company every day for 2 weeks and got nothing done. Yes, so that's why I'm not going to make the call, Kimmy, until I've worked out what am I going to do while I'm waiting. Yeah, Judy's saying, yes, they're phasing out plastic bags. And what a wonderful thing to do. So that's good to hear. All right, now then, how many times a day do you wash your hands? Think about that. And how many of you clean your sink while you wash your hands? Again, depending where you're washing your hands, right? So if you think about that, you could have the cleanest vanity in the business if every time you wash your hands, you also clean the vanity or the sink itself. Yeah, and Jeannie's saying many, many times these days. That's right. And that's why I'm saying, think about that. And by the way, yes, Kimmy's saying the same thing. By the way, if you're lucky enough to have 2 bathrooms where you live, make a point of washing your hands in the other bathroom at least once a day. So you can make sure that that place is tidy while you're washing your hands and clean. All right, and I think Kimmy mentioned this at lunchtime. Never leave a room empty-handed. All right, that's multitasking. I'm going to go from here to there. Let me not go empty-handed. Jody's saying, I realize how many opportunities I have missed to multitask. For example, which ones, Jody? Which ones are you going, that's a good one? You see, it's all about, we can't create more hours in the day. What we can do is make the hours that we have more useful. I find it amazing that 6 months ago, I didn't have the time to exercise. And now I know that 1 hour for exercise is part of my day. And it doesn't matter whether I do it literally out walking or whether I'm out in the garden, using my energy, digging or doing something. I have 1 hour a day that is now devoted to exercise, whatever that might be. And it's not a waste of my time. And it's not time that I have to make, it's time that I choose to make. But I can also do other things at the same time. How many of you know I can be out weeding and learning? I can be out watering and learning. I can be out, planting seedlings and learning. So it's not about that I don't have the time. I'm actually, in a way, achieving more than I was 6 months ago. As I said, the whole trick about how did I go from doing 2,000 steps a day to doing 10,000, I've learned not to sit down as much. Because every time I sit down, I get distracted by something on my computer. And it's actually made me angry when I realized how much of my time was wasted at the computer. Not that the computer wasn't of value to me, but how much of my time is wasted. So what I said was, good night, Jeannie, sleep well. And let me now say to myself, I can use the computer first thing in the morning while I'm sitting down having my coffee, and I can use it at night while I'm watching television, because that's multitasking. But I try to use it as little as possible during the day, because I know if I sit down at that computer, I won't get up again for at least an hour or so. And that realization actually changed my the number of steps I do in a day, and it changed my attitude, and it changed my accomplishments. I hope that makes sense. And I want you to think little things. What can you do while there's something in the microwave? Right? This is where the trick is. The trick is, you put something in the microwave for what, a minute or 2 minutes? And it's like, what can I do while that's doing that? Instead of sort of waiting around for it to finish. And that's why I have discovered that a lot of time I was wasting in the kitchen, I'm now putting it to use. Because I'm beginning to see that while you're cooking or meal prepping, you can be doing something else at the same time. Because, I now try to not meal prep for one day or one meal. I try to make sure that I'm doing enough for a few. But at the same time, I'll be cooking something, and at the same time, you know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to make sure that it's good use of my time. Why? I want more time to do other things. And as you heard today, that whole cleaning routine that I'm into has given me so much more time. And I want to get back to editing videos, but my life has been so busy with insurance and getting back into my home and unpacking and everything that I haven't been able to justify doing that in my day, because looking after my mental health has been more important than anything. Looking after my health and mental health. All right. So Irit's saying, since I retired, I decided to wake up early and do things during the morning as much as I can, especially in the summer. I also write down what I have to do. Yeah, what I do is, my famous whiteboard. It's very interesting what I do at the beginning of the week, after I finish the broadcast, right? Because I know I might need it for the broadcast. But after I finish the broadcast, I will go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, weekend, like that. And I will go like this. And this side here is for appointments. And this size on the right-hand side, if I only did one thing on Monday, what is it? What is it I want to get done? And so basically, I have got 6 major things, and I sometimes have 2. But I want to make sure that I am concentrating on the things that are really important. Right? What's really important is if I got an appointment, and what's really important is what are the 6 things I would like to accomplish this week, not the 348 that are in my list, just the 6 that I would like to get done. Does that make sense to anybody? It's like, do I have any appointments for tomorrow? If the answer is no, I've got all day to play on the main thing if I want to. I don't, but you understand, that's the only thing I need to accomplish, is that one. If I do that, I can feel good about myself. But the most important thing is, what appointment do I have coming up tomorrow? Is there anything I need to get ready for it? Or what appointment do I have later in the week? Is there anything I need to get ready for that? So to me, it is about being more prepared to use my time better. Now, I'm not perfect at it. I'm still learning, as you know. But you know, the other thing I want to do is I want to have more time to go into the garden and see that rose and go, that's mine. You know, I planted it as a twig, and there it is, and it's beautiful. And the fact that there are 6 more waiting to bloom makes me happy. Therefore, it's not a waste of my time. It makes sense. I'm trying to spend more time on the things that make me happy, not the things I have to do, the things that make me feel good. It's like, it's a whole new concept. And those things that I write down on the board, nearly always they're things that I'm going to get a good feeling out of it. And the most peculiar things are happening in my life. I am suddenly tidier than I used to be because I want more time. I am more creative than I used to. I had a problem that I needed fixed. And, you know, it was just like, how can I fix that problem? And I suddenly came up with this brilliant idea. And I went, wow, I hadn't planned to be doing that this week, but that is a brilliant use of my time. Let me take the time and do that. So it's about, think about what it is that makes you happy, and do you have enough time to do it? So let me ask you all that question. What is it that you would like to have time to do? Right? And what are you doing to make that time? What are you doing to give yourself that time? Are you writing, you know, making sure that you give yourself a big slot of time to be able to achieve something? I go back to the issue about Lauren studying for that exam. And she just, without any second thought, cut everything off until she'd finished studying. And then she would talk to people. Brilliant. I'm not going to talk to anybody until I finish my studying today. That's what you call really adult behavior, really good focus. And so you look at it and go, there are times for multitasking and there are times for not multitasking. And as she said, she can study and listen to classical music, but she cannot study and listen to music with lyrics because her mind starts to play the lyrics. And that's distracting. Interesting stuff. So when we talk about the habits we've got and the multitasking, one of the things I've been working on in my life this week is getting my habits changed, right? If I want to eat more fruit and vegetables in my day, then a couple of things. Instead of having a smoothie in the morning now, I am eating fruit and vegetables for my first meal. Why? I want to make sure I've had fruit and vegetables. So when I say fruit and vegetables, I probably have fruit for breakfast and then make sure I get vegetables for lunch. And it doesn't matter whether it's an avocado, whether it's carrots and celery and dip. It's about, have I had that that's my new habit. And then if I want to have a protein shake, I can have one. But first, I'm going to do it that way. I want to show you another little thing that I worked out. As I think you all know, that window gets an incredible amount of sunshine during the day. So it is now my dehydration window. I can dehydrate food just up on there. So here's some vegetables that I've dehydrated up there. And what I do is I take my leftover vegetables and I dehydrate them. And then I put them in my magic bullet, which is there on the left-hand side of my stove. Can you see it? And I will just literally pop this in and turn it into powder. Why? Because I want to get more vegetables into my diet. And so turning it into powder, I can put some in with my smoothies. I can, put a little bit over my salad or whatever. And it's just another habit that I'm getting into. Plus, it saves leftovers. I'm not throwing them away. I'm dehydrating them and then, pulverizing them. Have any of you tried doing that? And, I will make bread sometimes, and I'll just throw some in with the bread. I will make wraps, and I will throw some in with the wraps. I will make gravy and throw a little bit in with the gravy. It's like all the time I'm trying to add just that little bit extra in the way of vegetables. It's a habit that I'm trying to get into. How can I improve my diet in little bits? Now, last night I really wanted mac and cheese. I hadn't had mac and cheese for over a month. And so again, how can I make mac and cheese, a little bit better for me than just mac and cheese? Well, I added bacon because bacon's protein, and I added tomatoes because that's a vegetable. Actually, it's a fruit, but you understand. And I'm going, what can I add to it? And I added some vegetable powder to the mac and cheese. And I didn't notice the vegetable powder in that sauce at all. But I know it was there because I put it in there. So I have a choice, throw the ends of things into the garbage or cut them into small amounts and let them just dehydrate and blend them into powder and use them. Little bits at a time. One more step, hopefully in the right direction. Okay, so there we are. That is what I wanted to talk about today. If anybody else has got anything else that they would like to talk about, tell me now. Jody's saying, I've seen mac and cheese recipes that had butternut squash. I think that sounds pretty delicious. Yes. And so it's about, we can choose. You know what else I did, Jody? Which was, I am allowed to have mac and cheese, but not until I've had a full plate of salad. When I say a full plate, but like 2 cups of salad. That was my condition. You may have it, but first you will have salad. I wanted to fill myself up before I had it. And then I only was allowed half a cup of dry macaroni. That's the other thing I'm learning. I don't try and limit the serving size when it's cooked. I limit the amount of pasta I can cook. If it's rice, it's 1/3 of a cup dry. A third of a cup dry. That is a portion for me. And the macaroni, I did half a cup. So, normally I would do a cup. But if I only cook half a cup, guess what? I will only eat that much. Yes, and being mindful of each bite. And that's why I've said that I found that multitasking while I eat, funny enough, slows down the speed at which I eat. And I can eat what I call the not so good stuff, or the good for me stuff that I don't like as much. I spent a little bit of time today. I knew I was going to sit down and do some prep for the broadcast. And what I did was I sat down with carrots and celery and a dip. I had a plate full of fruit. I had, fruit in front of me, and all chopped up and easy to, and I made a dip of yogurt, and no sugar added jam. And I just, dipped the fruit into that. And it was, it just slowed me down. And I enjoyed the tastes, enjoyed them. Now, Jody, I was asking you about the problem that I had with the psyllium husk. I think I found the answer to that, which is to take it later in the day. In other words, don't take it in the morning. And I've now started taking small amounts of psyllium, but I take it in the early evening. And I found that works better for me, because most of the time it's doing its work, I'm asleep. If you know what I mean. And it's sort of, it definitely is better for me than it is during the day. So we'll keep working on that one. All right, everybody. So there we go. That's the broadcast for today. We're shorter on time, and that's not a bad thing either. But I'm hoping that it's given you a little bit of food for thought. Think about the habits that you would like to change. If you want to eat more fruit in your day, then make sure it is available. All right? Don't hide it in the fridge. Make sure it is available. So when you want a quick snack, you don't go to the fridge and get something else. You'll grab a piece of fruit. If you want to walk every day, make sure it's part of your routine. It's not if I have time, I will do it. I make walking now, that 1 hour of exercise, as one of the first things I do in my day. And it doesn't matter, as I said, whether I go out in the garden and work with my weed whacker, or if I dig or whatever. I need to get 10,000 steps in if I possibly can, but a minimum of 8. And what I do is during the day, I keep checking to see how am I doing on my steps. And, I've done 7,700 at the moment. The chances are by the time I've cooked a meal this evening and tidied up and everything, I should be fine. I'll be well over 8, obviously, because I've only got 300 to go for 8. But, it's like if I want to do more, maybe I'll spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes while I'm watching something today, just walking while I'm watching it, and take it from, 8,000 to closer to 10. Makes sense. That is multitasking my way to health. The other thing is I'm looking at the amount of meat I eat and reducing that, or eating it in a different way. When I say that, I'm looking at, do I really need to eat a steak, or would 2 rashers of bacon work really well? Added to a stir fry. Do you understand the difference? And then it's like all these little things are starting to fall into place. And I'm still not losing weight. It's just amazing. But I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep doing these things until I get the combination that works for me. And I must admit, I did think that the exercise would do it. Apparently, it's not doing it enough. So I'm going to keep at it. And, it's the old story. My weight has to do with what I'm putting into my body, and I've got to be more mindful of that. And I keep thinking that I am, but obviously things are sneaking in there. Or, something else is going on. But, it's just so funny for me. I keep going, yeah, I'm going to be able to report to my doctor that I've gone up, and I'm now doing around 10,000 steps a day. He's going to be shocked, quite honestly. The same as he was when I said I have now quit smoking for 5 years. I don't think he ever thought that was coming. And Jodi's saying you're doing a great job on your health. Well, who was my mentor on that one, Jodi? Right? And I wanted to just say to you that part of my goal for this week is, you see that cupboard right there? Right there. That's what I call my tea and coffee cupboard, right? Now then, I don't want to do it, but I want to clean it up. Why? Because when everything went back in the cupboards, it just all got shoved in there. So what I'm going to do is take everything out and put it on the counter here. And then go, what do I use on a daily basis? And that's going to go on the bottom shelf. What do I use on a weekly basis will go on the second shelf. What do I use less than that will go on the top shelf or away. How long do you think that will take? What do you think? And the interesting thing is, should I change the shelves? And the reason I'm saying that is, that cupboard has adjustable shelves. Maybe what I need to look at is, once I've got the food, the things that I use on a daily basis, maybe there's that much space at the top that is fresh air. If it is, I need to drop the next shelf down. Makes sense? Because maybe the bigger shelf needs to be the top one, not the bottom one. All right, so Irit's saying that'll take about 2 hours. I don't think so. That you mean including cleaning it, or just emptying and putting things back? So, but do you understand the thinking about this, which is take everything out of it and then don't just put everything back. Just go, what do I use every day? Not a lot of what's in there do I use every day or every week. And then what do I use maybe once a month? And then the rest of it, why is it in this cupboard? If I use it less than once a month, what is it doing in that cupboard? Why don't I free up the space for something else that I need there? That's what my new thinking is, all right? And I'm doing that with all my drawers, I'm doing that in my bedroom. What clothes do I wear every week? Those are the ones I need hanging up. What clothes do I, wear at least once a month? All right, so Irit is saying put things in containers, clean as well, yes, obviously. And I put stickers and the date of expiry. Okay, well, this is what I am starting to work on. How much wasted space is there? Okay. And this happens to be sweetener, Truvia or something. And it's got my name on it because I obviously put some in this container and took it down to Don Sember. Right? How do I know that? Because I put my name on it so that people would know that's my special stuff. Again, how much wasted space is there Do you understand what I'm saying? So maybe I do want whole milk in that cupboard, but I don't need that much wasted space. So either fill it up, make better use of that space, or bring it down. This is milk powder, okay, in here. Now, this isn't much wasted space, but guess what? I've got milk powder right there in that container. I don't also need this. So just by taking these three things out, okay, Jody's saying, I love that built-in shelf where your coffee cups are. The one in the window? Or the one inside the cupboard? But anyway, what I wanted to show you is if I want to make a lot more space, the large one doesn't help me. The one in the window or the one in the cupboard? The shelf in the cupboard or the shelf in the window? The reason that I got this one, Jody, is I wanted to have some of the Dear Mama Sal mugs out and the December mug. All right, and I didn't have anywhere in this kitchen to put them unless I put them way up high. And I like to use them. So that's why I said I need a different setup. Plus, I wanted somewhere to put plants and things. So yes, it's very useful, and it's very useful. It's very useful in the winter to keep plants on it as well. So definitely was not a waste. I don't know if you can see, I also have a coffee mug there, a different sort of coffee, thermal one there, but it's in, it's also black and red and white, it's Canadian one. So it all fits in there. So the thing is, I am constantly asking myself, how can I do this better? So my goal for this week is that cupboard. Feel free to ask to see it next Friday evening. My question is, what is your goal this week? Right? Let's hear it. What is it you would like to commit to do? Now, by the way, I'm not going to be at your house to find out whether you did it or not. So, but you see, you've got integrity, and I'm pretty sure that you will do it if you say you're going to. By the way, I was just thinking today, at one point I was triple tasking, not double tasking. It was definitely multi, because I was cooking at the same time as I was walking and watching something. All right, so Jody's saying, clear the bathroom vanity. All right, so you know what to do. Take a cubie or a container of some sort, a plastic bag, doesn't matter. Take everything off there. And then every day, put whatever is in that container away somewhere else. I am so excited that the restoration people are going to make those stupid half drawers that I've got in that vanity and turn them into full ones. I'm going to be able to get so much more into my vanity drawers. I'm really happy about that. So, you'll be surprised, Jody, because the trick is in one movement, you can get everything off there. That's what you wanted to do, get everything off there. The trick is, where are you going to put it now? All right, and Irit's in for the party. She's saying, I want to clear some clothes from my cupboard. As in, donate them or give them away or whatever. Would you like an easy system to do that on an ongoing basis? Are we talking hanging clothes or are they folded clothes? And while I'm answering Irit on that one, anybody else got anything that they'd like to commit to doing this week? You want to give them away. Okay, here's what I found works really well. Are you inclined to put your clean clothes in the center of your closet or at one end of your closet? It's important so that I can tell you the next bit. When you bring them back from the laundry, where do you hang them? No. I just want to know, where do you hang them? And the other thing is, do you keep, all your pants together, all your tops together, all your tank tops together and so forth? Or do you just, throw them all in? Okay, so here's, you need to know what system you work to, because even if you don't think you've got one, you have. What I found is that when I used to just put it all into the closet without having it too categorized, I found that if I put all the clean clothes on the right-hand side, that meant that everything kept moving to the left. So at the end of the month, Irit, I used to take the very last thing on the left and put it in the donation bin. Why? I hadn't used it for a long time. It had got all the way to the left. And it didn't mean that I was going to throw it away or give it away immediately. It went into that box. And that box probably took me 6 months to fill up. And it was amazing because I still had it. And then if necessary, I would put it in the garage for 6 months, but then it went. But you understand, it was like, whatever is on the left-hand side at the end of the month, let me take it down. And it was amazing how easy that was. The other thing that I found was I kept a grocery store bag at the end, and I'd just take it off the hanger and put it in that thing. When the grocery bag was full, I'd put it into the box. So again, get into the habit of putting, again, remember what I said in an earlier broadcast, think about putting one thing into that donation box every day. One thing. It can be, anything, but put one thing in every day. It doesn't have to be just clothes. But if you can do that, you will get rid of 365 things every year from your house. As long as you don't put in another 365, you're going to be winning. Now then, here's my last thing I wanted to tell you about, which is I found, Jody, heads up on this one. Jody, I found when I got ultra tidy on my countertop in the bathroom, I found that I was forgetting to take my meds because they weren't on the countertop. I used to keep the container on the countertop. And once I tidied that away, I was forgetting that I had not taken my meds yet. So here's where the new habit came in today. Jody, just a thought. I said to myself, what do I use every day that needs to go into that drawer so that I will open it and go, oh gosh, I haven't taken my meds? And I decided I'm going to keep my toothbrush and toothpaste, which normally are in my medicine cabinet, and I'm going to keep them in that drawer with my medication. And that will make me open that drawer at least twice a day and go, did I take my meds today? Yeah. So I've changed my habit of where I keep my toothbrush and toothpaste. And they are in the drawer that contains all my medications. That sounds like it's got, when I say medications, but, all my vitamins and everything else that goes in there. And it's like, okay, I know what my problem is. Now let me find a habit that will help me overcome that problem. And that is what this whole thing is about. Let me find a habit that will help me overcome this problem. I am delighted to tell you that the habit of saving my live lettuces has been an absolute wonder for me on many levels. I now have, I still get the occasional one, but basically I have enough lettuces growing on my deck now to sustain myself. I buy an extra one just in case I have anybody, over for a meal, so that I can, top it up. I have enough to be self-sufficient now. But if somebody came, I would want extra. So that's the reason that I get them. But, I have learned that art. And where other people have got hanging baskets of flowers, I now have created 2 hanging shoe holders, over the door shoe holders, full of lettuce and herbs and cabbage, and I popped in a couple of flowers in between, just to make it look pretty. But it's like, I love flowers, but I like being self-sustaining more. And it's like, why not? And I haven't got any hanging baskets of strawberries, but I will next year. I will actually make hanging baskets of strawberries and tomatoes rather than of flowers. Or I will have a couple of flowers on the top, but then the bits that come down, the trailing bits, I'm going to make edibles. And what I have a problem with here is that as much as I've got this beautiful tiered vegetable garden, I have bunny rabbits that are very hungry. And so almost anything I put into there is being eaten by the bunny rabbits. All right, and Everett's saying, by the way, I live in a house with a big garden, so I do a lot of work there. Yes, and don't discount that as exercise. All right, and that is the thing to be aware. It doesn't matter whether the exercise you're getting is dancing. It's like, move your body. I just was spending way too much time sitting. And I can feel it. I can feel it in my hips, and I can feel it in my back. And it's like, I need to spend more time upright and doing the right things for my posture. So that's what I've been working on, and I'm continuing to. And the other thing I am doing is I have just ordered up some risers for my couches. Well, I've got a couple of experiments going on. I want to lift them up a bit, so when I sit down, I'm not as low. All right, that I'm at a much healthier height. Not that I'm sinking right back, which is bad for my back and so forth. I want to sit up more. I wonder if that makes sense to anybody. And I'm getting some supports to go under the cushions, so it's more solid underneath there as well, for the same reason, that I want more support when I sit down. It's going to be easier on my back in the long run. So we'll see. All right, everybody. So I hope you've learned something today, and that you are going to give a bit of thought to what it is that you can multitask, and what it is that is a habit you want to create. Wow, it's interesting. Jody's saying, the entire structure of my day has changed for the better with your help, Sal. Well, I am learning every day. Right? Every day I try to find another thing I can learn that I can use for my benefit, and then obviously you will get the benefit of it as well. And it's the small things that we do that change our lives. I look at what you've achieved, Jody, and you've achieved so much in the past couple of years. That really, I think for a lot of people, it is, probably not something they think they can do. I certainly had to say that I did not think 6 months ago that I would do a 5K walk, an official one. Part of me goes, I don't know if I ever will again, but I'm going to. But it was just like, I never dreamt that I could do that. But it was only when I started that journey that it became, well, maybe I could do that. It's the small, sustainable changes that make the impact. Yes. And so getting everything out of that cupboard and putting it in by not by what looks good, but how often do I use it, is going to be a smart choice, all right? Because I think I'm going to find out that the biggest group is what I will do, actually, I was wondering whether I should do that on Sunday so that we can all discuss it and you can see where the problem lies. Of all the things in that cupboard, only this amount are the things that I use on a daily basis. So, and how many mugs do I need in that cupboard? And I want to talk more about wasted space, right? I have found that in a lot of cases, I reuse my, pasta bottles. If I have pasta sauce, I always reuse it, but because they're good quality bottles. But I'm inclined to use them this way down because they stack better and it's better use. And then what I do is I put what it is at the bottom here. So I'm trying to get everything less stressed. As you can probably imagine, every time I open that cupboard, I go, ugh, that doesn't look very good, does it? Now, you know what else I discovered? That cupboard there. Very useful cupboard, all right? That one with the glass on it. Very useful cupboard. Do you know what it's filled with? Plates that I use about 3 times a year. Why? Why have I got plates that I only use 3 times a year sitting in my kitchen? Do you get my thinking? They're taking up a lot of space. And they could be sitting on my wall unit inside a cubie, would be an idea. You know what I'm saying? It's just like or a couple of them could be out on display if I want the color, but I don't need them taking up that much space. And then I realize I've got top shelf there is a lot of glassware. You don't want glassware out. It's collecting dust and they should be in that cupboard. Right? But, so that's how I'm starting to reorganize now. I've got unpacked far enough that I'm starting to reorganize what I've unpacked. So that's going to take me quite a while, but that's what I'm doing. Okay, I am out of here. This is DearMamaSal saying, let's do this together. Let's think that we are not doing it the right way or that we should have done it, years ago, whatever. This is what we're doing, right? We're going step by step and helping each other. And I'm pretty certain that if Erit gets, by the way, Erit, how many clothes would you like to get rid of? How many clothes would you like to get rid of? What would make you feel good? If you could get rid of 6? If you could get rid of 12? What would make you feel good? That's what you need to think about. Jody, what is going to make you feel good about the vanity? Is it to get it completely cleared or only have 3 things on there? What is going to make you look at it and go, that looks good? What do you think? What is it going to need? What is the picture you have on your mind? And I found that I've got, what do I have on my vanity? I have a soap dispenser, and I have something, a collecting thing where my hairbrush and my comb are in. I have a little catch-all heart-shaped bowl that I keep my glasses and a notepad and stuff in. And I have my moisturizer out and my perfume. And they're on the other side. So that's what I have. And every morning, part of the trick I have every morning, Jody, is to look at that vanity and go, is there anything on there that shouldn't be? All right, so yours, and then my Kleenex, you're quite right, yep. So Jody's saying just the Kleenex box, a toothbrush holder with liquid and a liquid soap dispenser. That's your goal. So like the cupboard, Jody, the easiest way to do it is take everything and put it in something else, even if it's just a Safeway bag, and then say, I've done it. Now, where am I going to put this stuff? It makes sense. Yes, please take a before and after. You remember what I did today. And for those of you who didn't, I know that Jody saw it, but I was on a mission between the two broadcasts, like I wasn't busy enough. But I had a problem that I wanted to fix. And the problem was, hang on a second. The problem was I wanted to give myself a privacy wall on my deck, all right? And what I did was spend some time this afternoon, and I built this. And it works beautifully. And it looks much better than I thought it would. My only concern is when the big winds blow, will it be able to take it? And so what I've ordered are some zip ties that I will secure it to itself better and to the railing better, so that it's got a bit more support. And you know what I thought? Even if the big winds break a couple of them, it wasn't the end of the world in terms of cost to be able to replace a couple of panels each year. So I'm now busy about to build the next bit. I've got another part of my deck that I want to give myself some privacy on, and that's what I'm going to do. By the way, as I look down my hallway, my dust broom is lying between the laundry room and my freezer. So I've got to walk over it to get to my bedroom. Why? To remind me that I have got wash in the washing machine. You see, I do things like that. It's like I'm looking, oh yeah, I've still got wash in the washing machine. And it's a habit that I got into, is put something in the wrong place when you want to remember something. I sometimes put the weirdest things by my front door. And the reason is I know I'm going to go, what the heck is that doing? Oh, right. I need to go and get so-and-so before I go out. And it's one of those, put something in totally the wrong place. And it's amazing what it does to your mind. I'm looking, oh, yes, I know why it's there. All right, goodbye. I'm out of here. This is DearMamaSal saying, have a great Saturday. Be productive. That's what I would like you to do, is just think about, how can I be more productive? And the reason is because how you're going to feel about yourself when you are, right? I think over the pandemic year, we have got incredibly comfortable with not doing as much. But, we're getting back to normal again. And so it's time for us to start speeding up again, or getting more accomplished in less time, with less time. This is DearMamaSal saying, we can do this. By the way, feel free to share any ideas. If you realize during this week that you go, something, I multitask doing this, that, and the other, leave the comments below so other people can read what you do and that we can all learn from it. Have a great week. Bye-bye for now.